Are you struggling as a man to improve your relationships or develop the relationship with yourself? Well, today I'm going to share 3 lessons I've learned from my men's coach on how it's really improved my relationship with myself and other people and attracted the right people into my life. Welcome back to the podcast today. Thank you for being here. Now, relationships is a really sensitive topic that lots of people can get triggered by and impacted by, and I totally get it. I've totally been there. And therefore, that's why I decided to make an episode on it today. Now, there's 3 essential lessons that I've learned personally from my mentor. And that's why I wanted to make this short and sweet episode today for you, because I know things like particularly dating and intimate relationships can be a real challenge. Believe me, I've been heartbroken, I've been hurt so many times in my life, and being able to implement what's been said and I've heard and being able to act on has really changed my life. So I want to share 3 essentials that I've learned that have really helped me in this area. So the first one is, number 1, look after the little boy inside yourself. So we all have an inner child, and you want to Google inner child work if you've not come across it. It's really wow, empowering when I learned about it a few years ago, about probably 2020 is the first time I came across it. Connect with the inner child within you, because often in our childhood, I mean pretty much everyone's childhood, there's some degree of hurt or some kind of trauma there. And it doesn't mean you abused or attacked. I had a beautiful family, very fortunate and blessed to never have that. And they treated me beautifully. I have wonderful parents, thank goodness. But we all go through a kind of experience that can impact us. For me, it was the loss of my brother when I was very young, the loss of my grandma when I was very young. I got lost a few times, and that kind of caused a little bit of trauma inside of me. So if you're someone and you're like, oh, I had a good childhood, chances are, even if a teacher said you're stupid or something like that, that can be quite a lot of trauma. But of course, if you went through, unfortunately, there is physical, mental, sexual abuse as a kid, that's going to have a big impact on you. And I know a lot of people who have grown on to live beautiful lives from there, from who they've evolved into, but they had to do a lot of work through it. And again, it's not saying what's the right path for anyone, because we all on different journeys. But from my understanding and experience and talking to many people, we all go through some kind of trauma, but it varies as kids. So speaking to ourselves as the younger boy within inside ourselves in men's work is really powerful. I went to this workshop where my coach was there and all these other guys were there, and they gave us an exercise to act out our inner child. And I actually felt so deeply into being the 4-year-old version of me. And I was crying, I was shaking, and it took 10 minutes for me to calm my nervous system down. And one of the coaches had the tools to do that, fortunately, because they're skilled in that. But then the next day, I felt like a man, I'd looked after that inner child and I'd heard him. And from there, my relationships with people really, really improved. Right? I've noticed when I've looked after a little boy, I'm less attached to the woman I'm dating. Not talking about currently, but I'm talking anytime, right? I'm less attached because I'm looking after that little boy. He's not looking for validation in someone else. So paying attention to that little boy every single day is really, really key. Number 2, a key thing I've learned is find something that genuinely gives you joy. Not something, and this sounds simple, but our mind can get in the way and say, oh, I should like this, I should like that, I should do this, I should do like that. No, what does your heart and your body tell you that you want to do? And sometimes you've got to get curious and experiment with different activities and try different things, right? But the more you can do something that gives you joy, the more your life is going to feel good, and you're going to come from a cup that's full, and therefore your relationship's going to be better. I love podcasting, as you can probably tell. So I make sure I get that regularly into my life because it's so, so important to me. And then number 3 is, in your relationships, communicate without attachment. What do I mean by this? This is something I like to do currently in my relationship. I like to communicate where I'm at, and sometimes In the past, I've had to say some like hard, like in numerous situations in life, not just intimate relationships, but in different places. But I like to communicate without too much attachment. Of course, there's going to be nerves and, a little bit of nervousness when you're communicating something big or very vulnerable, or, ooh, I've got to share that. But it's really important to communicate without attachment. It's easier said than done, but it's a practice, right? The more you do it, the more comfortable it become. But never like, some things will never be 100% comfortable and you just got to say them, right? But like, communicate without attachment is a really, really big one that has profoundly impacted my life as well. And that's a big thing I learned from him. And at the time when I began working with this coach, I was very scared about communicating my needs and who I was, because like, I was like, oh, it's got to work out. And this was a while ago. I was like, it's got to work out. This is good, almost 2 years ago now, but like, it's got to work out. I hope it works out, and all this kind of thing. But I was so attached that I'd be like filtering my communication. But if you can get to a point where you're healthily communicating, that's really going to help you moving forward. And when you get to a place of working with your inner child, like the first point, you're going to look at your needs first. You're going to come from a loving place because your cup's full, you're looking after your inner child, and therefore you care about other people, but you're not trying to be nice and trying to get from people because your cup's full, you're looking after you, and then you can start communicating your needs as well as understanding theirs, and obviously like listening without attachment. So that's a key thing I've learned as well. So that's what I got for you today in terms of 3 essential lessons I've learned as a man from my men's coach. Once again, just going through them. Look after that little boy inside yourself. Number 2, find something you genuinely are joyful about. And number 3, communicate without attachment. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.